Tonight we're here with Poland's Deputy Prime Minister and Foreign Minister, Mr. Radosław Sikorski. Thank you, sir, very much for the time.
Pleasure.
Now, you're a student of history. What will historians say about this war, do you think, when it's over? I know that the outcome is still unknown.
I think this will be remembered as Putin's hubris, Putin's criminal mistake that ruined his place in history. It was supposed to be otherwise. It was supposed to be the crowning victory. Because after 4 years of his 3-day special military operation, we're still here in Kyiv. And as we speak, Ukrainian forces are actually making some local advances.
This war has cost already 1.2 million Russian casualties, and the rate of advances on the front line is the slowest in any war we've seen.
Plus, we reckon about $1 trillion opportunity costs for the Russian economy. That's real money. Of course, huge sacrifices by Ukraine too. A sorry history of miscalculation and imperial arrogance.
Indeed. Now, we've seen this violence and suffering in Ukraine has been subjected to, and yet Hungary and Slovakia continue to block crucial money from the European Union.
Well, I have good news on that. We've just had a coalition of the willing meeting at which both President of the European Council, Antonio Costa, and the President of the Commission said that the decision had already been taken at the last European Council, at which the Prime Minister of Hungary had already agreed, so the money will be dispersed.
Will be dispersed. Well, that's good news. That is good news indeed. And like when it comes to blocking money like that, do you think that there are some issues with the European Union sometimes being held hostage by 1 or 2 countries?
I agree, because as you know, Hungary is also blocking the 20th package of sanctions, is also blocking the disbursement of money from the European Peace Facility. I think on sanctions, I would be happy to personally, to discuss dropping unanimity, because it shouldn't be one country blocking an important decision on behalf of the entire community.
But if that's not possible under the treaties, would it be possible to create coalitions of the willing in terms of common security defense? Well,
the treaty actually envisages that, and we've launched such a coalition of the willing exactly in the area of defense. It's called PESCO, Permanent Structured Cooperation. It's just that it was put in motion in peacetime. I would be in favor of reinvigorating it.
A man you've known for a while, former Prime Minister Boris Johnson, has said European troops should be sent to Ukraine now in supporting roles. Is he wrong?
Well, there are some European troops in all kinds of roles, military attaches, observers, that sort of thing. Well, it's easier to make such suggestions when you're not in power.
You met with President Zelensky already today. What was your message to him?
Well, it wasn't exactly a message. This was a coalition of the willing in which my Prime Minister spoke remotely, and you can imagine what he said. Poland was the first to rally around Ukraine. We received 1 million refugees. We've helped Ukraine with energy, with tanks, with missiles, with MiG fighters, with contributions to the Czech ammunition initiative, to the pool mechanism for buying American weapons. And we tried to be helpful to Ukraine during our presidency of the EU, and now we're discussing joint production initiatives.
I'd like to ask you about Elon Musk. Once Ukraine reached out to SpaceX, quickly the Russian terminals were shut down on the territory of Ukraine. Does that show that Elon Musk is a friend of Ukraine?
Well, it's Poland that pays for 30,000 terminals. We've spent something like $200 million on SpaceX services. So first of all, we expect him not to give the same service to the enemy and not to enable the enemy. And I'm glad, perhaps somewhat, when I pointed out the problem to him, action was taken and the illegal Russian Starlinks were switched off. Should have been done 2 years ago. And apparently this has sowed some confusion in Russian ranks. Good, but better never late.
Indeed, I'd like to close with this. How do countries like Poland, who have suffered from Russian imperialism, convince others further away of just the dire threat that Russia poses to all of our common?
Well, the attendance at today's Coalition of the Willing shows that we in Europe see the danger. The danger not just to Ukraine, not just to the eastern flank of NATO, but to all of the continent. If Putin were to conquer Ukraine, Russia would become a partner for the United States in the global distribution of power. And we think the European Union, with a much bigger economy and democracy and so on, should be America's main partner on this continent. So the stakes are incredibly high.
Is there a consensus within the European Union that victory for Ukraine is what is desired, and that means the defeat of Russia?
Well, we need a fair peace for Ukraine, and my definition of a fair peace is Ukraine within defensible borders and Ukraine in a position to integrate, at least economically, with the West.
Minister Sikorski, thank you for spending the time.
Thanks.
Thank you.